Sauce Gardner out to the Indianapolis Colts. 2 first-round picks, a first round this year and next year, and wide receiver Adonai Mitchell, who was just drafted a year ago. This is his second year in the league, so a lot of potential there. Very athletic guy. I talked very highly of him. I still talk very highly of him from Texas. What a fleece. In my opinion, what a fleece.
I mean, this is like what you do in Madden.
Yeah.
You first year with a team, you start off, you're like 1-7, you're like, great. This is awesome. I'm 1-7. Let's trade Sauce, let's get a bunch of first round picks and, draft a quarterback, which God, we know they need that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Field Goals and Forecast, presented by After Thought Sports, now on WSBU 88.3 FM, The Buzz. I'm Ryan Adio, alongside my great co-host, James Derrick, for another week of NFL action. Week 9 has just passed. Week 9, I'm pretty sure, at least.
Yeah.
And we've got a good episode cooked up for you guys here. We're going to talk about some trade deadline news. Mm-hmm. We'll get into our field goals of the week, the good, the no good, the not even close. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the extra point as well, a bit of this trade deadline.
Yeah.
And then fantasy deadline. Starts and sits. We've been pretty good with that recently.
No, just you.
All right. Been all right with it recently. And our forecast for next week and our locks of the week as well. So stay tuned for that. But let's jump into this trade deadline news. As of recording this, it is what time is it?
It is 2:46 p.m.
2:46 p.m. on Tuesday. So there's about an hour left of the trade deadline. A lot of big news has come in so far. So here's what we got. The Dolphins trade edge rusher Jalen Phillips to the Eagles for a 3rd round pick. I think that's a pretty fair price for him, at least.
Yeah.
Young guy.
Yeah, younger guy. I mean, like if the Eagles would get him for just a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, exactly.
But, he'll probably ball out too.
He just started getting good, and then the Dolphins threw him away. Mm-hmm. Logan Wilson to the Cowboys for a 6th round pick. Wilson requested a trade from Cincinnati, one of the underutilized members of the Cincinnati defense, but altogether pretty good. And then the Raiders give up Jacoby Myers, their wide receiver 1, to the Jaguars for a 4th round pick, I believe. That was that deal. 4th and maybe a 6th somewhere involved in there. I think
there was a 6th somewhere.
Which means Brock Bowers will get 30 catches a game at this point.
Yep.
And then Rashid Shaheed, wide receiver from the Saints to the Seahawks.
That's just like, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not Olave, but, it is what it is. And, of course, the 2 huge moves, both coming from the New York Jets organization. Sauce Gardner out to the Indianapolis Colts. 2 first-round picks, a first round this year and next year, and wide receiver Adonai Mitchell, who was just drafted a year ago. This is his second year in the league, so a lot of potential there. Very athletic guy. I talked very highly of him. I still talk very highly of him from Texas. What a fleece. In my opinion, what a fleece.
I mean, this is like what you do in Madden.
Yeah.
You first year with a team, you start off, you're like 1-7, you're like, great. This is awesome. I'm 1-7. Let's trade Sauce, let's get a bunch of first round picks and, draft a quarterback, which God, we know they need that.
And the fact that the Colts traded this year's first round and next year's first round means they're all in on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, well, like this year, with their record being as good as it is, like that pick is only going to be so good. It's going to be 20 or above guaranteed, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
pretty
really
fair.
Nothing crazy to say. But next year, very much so proves they think Daniel Jones is the man,
the guy, because they do not have any chance to go back on him now. But of course, the Jets also making some other moves, sending Quinnen Williams to the Dallas Cowboys for a 1st round pick next year and a 2nd round this year. And they threw in Mozzie Smith, a little bit of compensation there for the Jets. So that means the Jets have their 1st round this year, their 1st round next year, of course, a 1st round from the Colts this year, a 1st round from the Colts next year, and now the Cowboys 1st next year. So that's 2 this year, 3 next year, and I'm talking about 1st round picks. And then, of course, they have the Cowboys' 2nd round pick. They are stacked at picks, and we know that they use those picks pretty well most of the time.
Yeah, and they're just loaded. Like, this is exactly what they had to do in their given position.
This is how you do a rebuild. This is exactly how you do a rebuild.
They're doing it correctly, and to still get the amount of value out of Sauce Gardner that they got is something that I just really want to emphasize. I feel like he's not been playing, wonderfully. No. I also imagine it's hard to play corner when you have to, D up for 8 seconds.
Yeah, that's true.
That is difficult as well. So I imagine that doesn't do him any favors, but I just wasn't like, man, it's crazy. Just like trading for a position like corner and giving up 2 first-round picks just seems like a lot.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, when you're trading for a corner who's had struggles, especially recently struggles, and I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, you gave up way too much. I'm sorry, you gave up way too much for Sauce Gardner, and his contract is not small. They just re-signed him over at New York. Well, New Jersey, but it's all the same.
Yeah, it's really New Jersey.
It's New Jersey.
It's New Jersey. But yeah, again, like you said, they just signed him to a big contract. They're gonna have to pay that. And like best case scenario, you give them 2 like 30th overall picks.
Yeah.
If you're the Colts.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's still tremendous value there. I mean, just like a couple of guys, even like some second round guys, like, Nick Amenwari is one of the guys going up for defensive rookie of the year. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he made it into the second round, didn't he?
Yes.
And James Pierce Jr. is playing pretty well for the Falcons right now. He was just before 30. There's some guys.
Yeah.
There's guys you can draft
late.
Yeah. And considering Nick Amenwari.
Yeah.
Also,
Malachi Starks was a late pick.
Exactly.
I mean, I could go through some more late picks, but you get the point. Like,
you get the gist.
There's value in these picks, 100%, and second round, that's still extremely valuable. Mm-hmm. The Jets are loaded right now. I love to see it, and of course, we got to talk about who could be traded.
Yes. Who else?
We talked about who was traded. Who's next? And you've got the Twitter open of Adam Schefter right now. So if anything happens,
if anything else happens,
we'll be able to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But I think Giants wide receiver Jalen Hyatt is on that trade block. A lot of people saying that Evan Neal could also be on that trade block. He's in the last year of his contract. Evan Neal would definitely attract the likes of the Chargers, who lost Joe Alt. And then the Bills, they could go after Hyatt. That seems like a pretty reasonable move for them.
A need, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Something that we desperately need. Jordan Poyer, you are awesome. But I don't know if you're going to really do what you need to do for us this year. You know what I mean?
And then, of course, Chris Olave. Who knows? They just got rid of Shaheed. I doubt he moves, but it's been a topic for sure.
For his own brain health, he should be moved.
I agree, but
he won't be.
And then Jalen Waddle. Is he going to go? Is he not going to go? Does he really want to get traded? I would personally. I would want to
leave there, but you're also like you're in Miami. It's nice weather.
That is true.
He probably has a nice place there.
Yeah, he probably does. Yeah. And I will say, they did just get a new GM. They have an interim GM right now. Mm-hmm. They're going to have a new GM. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know how long he's going to be there. This could be a definite like check mark, right? I think that this is one of the guys that could definitely leave, realistically.
Yeah, man, just a lot of moves still probably yet to be made. We have an hour left of this trade deadline.
You know that the Dolphins, they are sellers, so
yes, should be. I mean,
they got rid of Jalen Phillips, so
they already started selling.
And of course, I brought this one up. It's a bit tricky right now. Chuba Hubbard, don't actually think he's going to get traded, but he definitely could be up there because Rico Dowdle's playing extremely well.
Yeah, Rico Dowdle is doing everything they need. I feel like you can just bring someone else, elevate someone else up, move Chuba. The value probably isn't there. I'm sure they'd probably get less than what they would want for a guy like Chuba Hubbard. But teams definitely need him. There are definitely teams, the Chiefs should be calling right now and say, hey, what can we get for Chuba Hubbard?
And also, another running back I didn't have on here because, they said probably won't get traded, but Breece Hall. The Jets are selling right now, and they're selling. It's a fire sale over there.
Yeah.
Breece Hall could be next.
Breece Hall, I'm assuming, wants to be traded, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I would too.
Did you see his Twitter?
I did.
We were actually talking about this.
Yeah.
I know you saw his Twitter, but it looks very sad.
He looks very sad.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
he's,
like,
he's just posting the sad emojis. So
Yeah, and I mean, they still came away with so much, like Dallas first round picks. I mean, come on, like we didn't even talk about this enough. I feel like Dallas just lost yesterday.
Yeah.
They are going to get a good pick in this draft. They're 3-5-1.
yeah, that second rounder is going to hit. It's going to be pretty early, and the first round next year is the lower of the two. They have the one from Green Bay that they got in the Micah Parsons deal, but it's the lower of the two picks, whichever one ends up lower.
Best.
Which is crazy because, I mean, I don't see Green Bay being that low ever, but, well, anytime soon at least.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the Packers pick will ever be lower than the Cowboys. So it's going to end up being the Cowboys pick.
Yeah.
Man, just Fleece job. The Jets are cooking right now. They're absolutely cooking.
Yeah, I mean, and the Cowboys, man, they got Quinn and Williams.
I feel like this happens with every Jerry Jones trade.
I just don't get it. You just lost to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
On Monday Night Football with Jacoby Brissett slinging the rock back there.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And I want to talk about dealers versus buyers.
Yes, go for it.
Where are the Cowboys sitting in there? I know right now that they're buyers, but should they be dealers? Should they enter this like, all right, we kind of got to get into a bit of a rebuild mode here. It's clearly not working.
What I'll say is, I mean, Dak is playing at a very high level. He's elevating his guys, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, he's somewhat inconsistent.
But you can't see him playing well and just be like, oh, this means we need to push. We need to trade picks. We need to go get a bunch of guys. You don't have any resemblance of a secondary.
Dak Prescott,
the defense sucks.
Is a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback.
I don't know, man.
Will he ever win a Super Bowl? Probably not.
I doubt he'll win a he's not Super Bowl level, but I mean, he's one of those guys where when he's healthy, he's in the MVP race.
Do I ever really? I honestly, very similar career to Tony Romo. If I'm being completely honest with you,
I feel like Tony Romo didn't even put up the numbers that Dak has put up.
Romo was pretty good.
I know he was pretty good, but
all things considered, but
I think for Dak to win a Super Bowl, you'd have to have the best defense in the league,
and they have the second worst defense in the league. Second worst, which brings up a good point. Where do the Cincinnati Bengals fall in here as well?
Oh man, they've been trying to win games.
Yeah.
They've been trying, failing miserably. Actually, I mean this game this past week was that hurt. That game probably pushes them to be sellers at this point. You would have to imagine, but they're not. They're not
firing anybody. Nothing's happening.
And I'm kind of wondering why.
Yeah. Because they have the worst defense in the league.
They have the worst defense in the league. And you have to imagine Joe Burrow's great, but he's not good enough to win with almost no quarterback ever is good enough to win with the worst defense in the league. Right?
Yeah.
So you got to sell. You need to get some draft capital so you can get some guys, build up a roster where you're not paying anyone yet. Get some guys on rookie contracts that are young and good. They don't have that.
Yeah. And we know the Bengals don't love to pay anybody, so that would probably be their best move.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a list of dealers here. I think the Giants, the Saints, the Dolphins, the Raiders, maybe the Cardinals, maybe the Titans are definitely sellers. And buyers, I've got Bills, Broncos, Seahawks, Chiefs, Packers, maybe the Falcons. They're kind of in a we want to win, but we're too bad right now to win mode. Maybe the Texans, they have a pretty bad record.
I think you guys, the Falcons just in particular, not to stop you, but I feel like you guys have a young enough core roster where you can kind of just let it ride a little bit. You don't need to sell anybody at this point.
Yeah. And then the Texans are kind of a maybe. The Ravens are kind of a maybe. The Panthers are in a weird spot. They have a good record, but their roster isn't that good.
I know.
The Colts are in a weird spot as well, I would say. I mean, they did just go and get Sauce. And then, of course, the Steelers as well maybe need some wide receiver help, O-line help. Defensively, they haven't been super consistent. So a lot of interesting things to come, but we'll see what happens with the trade deadline as the longer we go on. It's only something's bound to happen at some point, I would assume. But let's jump into the Buffalo Bills and what happened this weekend where they take down their rival Chiefs in the regular season for the 5th straight regular season. They won 28-21.
I was aiming for double happiness by picking the Bills, and
you did say that. Yeah.
I hit double happiness this weekend, which was huge because this weekend blew. Sorry. Continue.
Fair enough. Not even close. Bills, Josh Allen bounced back, I would say. Had a pretty good week. Not really bounced back, but, was more in the game plan this week. 23 of 26, 273 yards, a touchdown, 6 carries, 19 yards, 2 touchdowns. Most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in NFL history.
And he's got plenty of time to go.
Yeah. And then, of course, James Cook, always the focal point. 27 carries, 114 yards. Ty Johnson did have that 1 touchdown while he was slightly injured. And then, of course, the Chiefs allowed 100 rushing yards for the first time this year.
Yeah, I told everyone to sit James Cook. I mean, holy airball. He literally, if he wasn't just a little banged up before that Ty Johnson carry, it was not even close. But,
But 27 carries, that'll do it.
Fine. That's what we've needed to do against the Chiefs. Just never done it. So I was thinking, we still wouldn't do it, but we did. So, honestly, great job. But
yeah. And then, of course, Dalton Kincaid, the wide receiver 1, of course. 6 receptions, 101 yards, a touchdown. And honestly, the big thing about this one is the defense stepped up. 100% defense stepped up. They forced the Chiefs to their largest halftime deficit of the season.
That's fun.
That's pretty good.
Buffalo.
Max Harrison played extremely well. He snagged that interception at the end of the game to kind of make things much harder for the Chiefs. And then I actually thought he was keeping up with Worthy very well. He has great speed. And I think maybe probably why we drafted him. Not just to cover Worthy, but those deep threats for sure.
Deep threats, but Worthy in particular. You have to imagine that's in the back of our mind. When we saw him shaking hands with everyone at the draft, we're like, we drafted him because he's nice. He's super, cool guy. No, it's the speed. And speed kills. And there was actually, you were talking to me during the game after they threw a deep ball to Worthy. It was an incomplete pass. I don't know if it went over his head or what, but he was step for step.
Yeah, I actually was very impressed with his performance. And then, of course, Mahomes was 15 for 34. His lowest regular season completion percentage in his career. No touchdowns, but an interception. Talk about struggles. And honestly, I blame it on the offensive line a bit. Can't blame his receivers.
No.
I think they were pretty much open. The run game was not really there. Pacheco was out. Hunt had 11 carries for about 50 yards and a touchdown. Rashee Rice had 4 receptions, 80 yards, 2 carries, 6 yards, touchdown. And that Wildcat where he literally just walked right in. But lowest completion percentage in his career. That doesn't just happen.
No, and Ed Oliver had a torn bicep. He didn't even play. We got a tremendous job from our front 4 or 5, however many we had there. Hoyt played well. Bosa played well. I mean, it was a combination of a lot of guys. And, I think we kind of built ourselves to beat the Chiefs this year in particular.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I'm not going to lie. This does happen like every year.
It happens
every straight
year.
Winning the regular season doesn't really mean much. Just doesn't mean anything. This is the 7th game between the two teams where the game was decided by less than 10 points. I assume we're going to see them again in the playoffs. Does this game mean anything to you?
It shows me that we can run the ball on anybody, really. I
guess that's true.
Kansas City, like you mentioned, hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher all season. And I mean, James Cook, he had 27 carries for 114. That's, the math on that. It's not extremely efficient, but it's going to do the job. And that is what you need. Keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Keep him shivering on the sideline because you know what? Playoffs, it's going to be cold. And, the less he's throwing the ball, 15 for 34. The strategy was working.
Yeah, absolutely. And then getting away from that game. I won't lie to you.
That's fine.
Let's talk about the Bills. Let's talk about Keon Coleman. I want to have the conversation with you. We're entering week 10.
Remember when he tricked us in week 1?
He had a great game.
A little bit.
We were still week 1 on a lot of, and I said, I'm going to need to see a couple more of these before I can say, okay, he's legit. And he hasn't had any game near that standard. Steve Smith, wide receiver for Carolina, longtime receiver from Carolina, now an analyst. And I'll be honest, he's usually pretty good about receivers.
He's pretty good. He advises teams on receivers. They call Steve Smith. They say, Steve, what about this guy?
Goes on his podcast, says he ain't the guy. He can't get separation, can't get out of the jam, doesn't have it. You can't teach a dog how to bark. You either got it or you don't.
That hurts. Totally correct, though.
I'm not the biggest fan of Keon Coleman. I will say I've got a little bias coming into this. When the Bills drafted him, I thought the exact same thing. I said, just can't get separation. He can't get open. He's not going to be our guy. And now he has the lowest separation in the entire league versus man coverage. Minimum 100 routes. Yeah.
You kind of need to separate yourself from the defender to be open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta think about that.
All right. Okay.
And listen, we're in the trade deadline. What do most people have us going and getting?
A wide receiver.
I rest my case, I think. Unless there's anything you got to say, I rest my case.
Oh, no, dude. I think Keon's just going to be our wide receiver of the future. We should extend him for 14 years and pay him $400 million. No.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you 100%. Every Bills fan does. And that's a massive sweeping generality, but it's true.
He's got time. At the end of the day, he has time, but
can't teach a dog how to bark.
It's
Ryan.
It's getting grainy, I will say. And of course, wrapping it up here, next week versus the Dolphins, not worried about it. Do you think this might be Mike McDaniel's last game?
I think the Buffalo Bills should trade, maybe they're like their copying machine for Mike McDaniels.
You know what? That's actually probably the best idea I've heard.
Someone should infiltrate the Miami Dolphins building, maybe go up to their offices and be like, all right, like that episode of The Office. Do you guys want new chairs or a new copying machine? Kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be like, all right, give us Mike. We'll give you whatever you want. Chairs or a copier. Both even.
Both.
New chairs and a new copier. You give us Mike McDaniel.
Would not be the first time that a major four sport has traded like a copier for a player. So
yeah,
or
we
a
talked
coach.
we talked about that on Above the Rim. I forgot who that was. Actually,
it was someone from the Suns, but not the point.
Yeah,
let's get into our field goals of the week. And no, we're not talking about kicks. We're talking about the good, the no good, and the not even close. In other words, just what went well this week, what didn't, and what was just terrible.
Yeah,
and of course, what was good? Well, Lamar Jackson is back.
Yeah, Lamar
Jackson is back, and he owns the Miami Dolphins. He owns the Miami Dolphins like it's no one else.
I remember the first time he played the Miami Dolphins, and I had him in fantasy. That was a glorious day.
I think the Miami Dolphins call him on Father's Day. I really do.
Hey, Dad. Happy Father's Day. This is Mike, by the way.
You going to be nice to us this year? No, because he was 18 for 23, 204 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 rushes, 14 yards, 4 touchdowns on the head. And then his career against the Dolphins, 18 touchdowns to 1 interception, 142.9 passer rating. 142.9 passer rating.
142.9.
Yep.
Isn't perfect above like some? That's probably above perfect, actually.
Oh man, I should know this. It's like 150, 160, I think.
Or something. But, very close to literally
maybe
perfect in that many games against a team. And he got some MVP chance.
Yep.
It was in Miami.
Yep. It's good.
I think the Miami fans agree.
They're actually chanting for Tua.
Yeah. As Tua sits on the bench, just like...
as Zach Wilson came in. Anyway, most pass touchdowns in... I got to read this correctly.
Yeah.
Most touchdowns in his first 5 career starts since 1950. And the highest passer rating versus one team ever. Minimum 5 starts.
Best or highest passer rating versus one team ever. Minimum
Ever.
5 starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he owns them.
Yeah.
He owns
It's
them
pretty
bad.
bad. And-
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the spread for the next time the Ravens play the Dolphins is going to be like 20. Like literally,
probably.
I think they might be favored by 20.
And add that on top of the fact that Lamar Jackson is just really good on Monday and Thursday night.
Yeah.
He in 17 games, he has 40 touchdowns and 1 interception.
He's a primetime warrior. I'm not going to... He when the lights go on, he's a demon.
Add that all up together and you absolutely dominate the Dolphins. Derrick Henry had 19 carries, about 120 yards. Zay Flowers was all right, 64 yards. Isaiah Likely, 60 yards. Mark Andrews, 2 touchdowns on 2 receptions for 22 yards. 2.
Yeah.
I might have said
two.
too many.
You said 1 too many twos. He did
Yeah.
not have 222 receiving.
I was thinking he might have had 22 touchdowns.
22 touchdowns actually instead. That's probably more realistic of a thought against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, honestly. But that's all I have from that game. Panthers, Bryce Young, 5-4. Were you expecting that?
Absolutely not. This was not on the docket for me, is watching the Panthers beat the Packers
At
on
Lambeau
Sunday.
Field.
At Lambeau.
16-13.
Underdogs by a touchdown, I'm pretty sure, going into that game. I mean, I can't say like Bryce Young really carried them to a victory.
Nope.
He did not. He didn't do that.
Nope.
But
He had 102 yards, by the way, and an interception.
Rico Dowdle, however,
Bang.
the man.
Yeah. 25 carries, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns against the top 5 rush defense. Let me make that very clear. One of the best starts by a running back of all time. Just if you take his last 5 games, get rid of the one where he split carries with Chuba, and you just look at that, it's like 200 yards, 200 yards, 180 yards, 130 yards.
Like if you had like a strictly like programming mindset and you extrapolate Rico Dowdle's numbers in games where he's the lead back, he beats out Jonathan Taylor for Offensive Player of the Year. Seriously.
Yeah.
And it's not close. I mean, 200 yards on the ground multiple times. He finally gets another good workload this week and just dominant.
Yeah. And on the other side, Josh Jacobs was a top 5 fantasy player this week. 17 carries, 87 yards, a touchdown, some receptions. Jordan Love was 26 of 37, 273 yards, an interception, no touchdown. And I thought his decision making was very bad against a pretty good Panthers defense, I will say. But
very bad. Just very bad decision making.
He was just bad. Yeah, honestly.
Sometimes he just does that. It's whatever.
But you know who isn't bad?
Who's not bad?
Brock M.F. Bauer, baby.
Yeah, don't listen to me ever again.
Back.
Yeah.
I apologize. 12 receptions, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns, 40 plus fantasy points. I want to shout out my friend Dan, who had Brock Bowers left, had a 3% chance to win, was down 30 points, and won his fantasy match.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's
come on,
huge.
Brock.
That's
huge.
He actually went and bought a Brock Bowers jersey.
And that is exactly what you do.
Exactly.
That is exactly what you do. Austin, friend of the pod, bought a Cooper Cup jersey a couple of years ago for the same reason.
Same reason. That's awesome. Love to see it. But
it's
that's all I want to say.
that happens, actually.
And now that Jacoby Myers is gone, just whatever. He's gonna be a monster.
Yeah, look for the same thing next week.
But let's get into our no good. And we talked about it already, but man, the Bengals defense blows. And they blew the game. And tensions are really high. They lost 47-42 to the Bears. Flacco had 470 yards, which is a career high for him. Career high. He won a Super Bowl. He had 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions to go along with it. T. Higgins was the leading receiver with 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase also had 111 yards. The Bengals defense allowed the Bears to score 47, ignoring that completely. Caleb Williams had 34 pass attempts, 20 of those were completions, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 rushes, 53 yards, a receiving touchdown, and 22 yards receiving on 2 receptions. Colston Loveland who has done nothing this year, has 6 receptions, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the game-winning touchdown with like 40 seconds to go.
Yeah, that was really big.
Kyle
Monangai.
I
Wanted to make sure you read it.
That's a tough name.
It's a hard one.
26 carries, 176 yards. Just a rookie. Yeah. Roma Dunze. Oh, wait, no. He had 0 receptions, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, by the way.
0, 0, 0?
Yeah, 3 targets.
Okay, so he had some targets, you know. Big cardio day for Roma Dunze.
Gotta keep talking about the Bengals. They had the following items and still lost. Let's stick with me here. They had a kickoff return for a touchdown. They had a blocked field goal. They had an onside kick recovery. They had 500 plus yards of offense. They had 2 100-yard receivers. They had 15 points scored in less than a minute. And they had 42 points over.
They were down by 14 with 2 minutes left.
And they lost.
And they came back.
Well,
then lost.
And then they lost.
Like, teams don't even have enough time to come back down 14 with 2 minutes left. They did that and then still threw the game.
And they'd lost, yeah.
It's insanity.
Jamar Chase and Chase Brown, which didn't mean to do that, but very frustrated in the locker room, saying, "One effing stop." They're fed up, but can you really blame them?
No. Yeah. Absolutely not. Like, come on. They know every time they go to the sideline, they're going to watch their defense give up a touchdown, and then they're just going to have to trot back out on the field and be perfect.
Yep.
And be perfect. And you can't be perfect in the NFL because time runs out eventually.
Yeah.
And you lose. And, oh, man. It wasn't a great look for Joe Flacco seeing him barely be able to turn 40 yards on that Hail Mary.
He is so fed up. I'm not even going to lie. Like, after that first, second to last touchdown drive right before the Bears went and won the game, the look on he scores and he gets to the sideline. He's just like, yep, thanks guys, yep,
awesome, great.
Just he wants to go home.
Yeah,
he was ready to go home. Yeah, just terrible performance from the defense. But hey, Bengals, at least you got a good offense. You got a good offense. You spent all your money on it, so it better be good. Completely separate. Commanders. They keep Jayden Daniels in late in the game, and honestly, they end up costing him probably the rest of the season with a dislocated elbow pending. I don't actually know what the whole injury is yet.
Yeah, but it definitely was at least dislocated.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Maybe just broken.
In the same portion of the field as every other injury that's ever happened on the Commanders. You're talking Alex Smith, Joe Theismann, and RG3. All in that same area.
Wow.
Just by the way.
Okay. Wow. It's a dead spot.
Yeah.
It's like the Boston Celtics home. They got a little dead spot there. That's a thing.
Yeah. But I actually did know that. Yeah. But of course, the Seahawks win that game 38-14. Daniels got hurt, but after the Seahawks had already put up 38 points. They kept him in after the Seahawks threw 38 on their head. Daniels was 16 of 22, 153 yards, an interception, 10 rushes, 51 yards, and a touchdown. Is there a reason they kept him in? I mean, what does the Commanders' season look like? Is it over?
At this point, and it sucks because they traded for Marshawn Lattimore last year.
He also has a torn ACL, by the way.
And it's like they made some moves to bulk this team up and be like, hey, we're ready this year. Let's go. We made it so far last year, outperformed expectations. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
No, underperforming. Jayden Daniels hurt a lot. As you mentioned, Marshawn Lattimore torn ACL. That sucks.
And look, it's the middle of the season. But I think we're going to have a repeat NFC East winner for the first time in 30 years.
Well, it certainly is trending in that direction right now. And
I don't want to jinx the Eagles or anything, but
I hope you
looking
jinx
likely.
The Eagles, actually.
I mean, I guess that's true. But let's get into our not even close. I don't actually have a ton this week. I won't lie to you, but
okay,
I really am so ecstatic to talk to you all about Daniel Jones because you know I am a D1 Daniel Jones disbeliever.
Yeah, you don't believe him.
I do not believe in Daniel Jones. And he reverted to his old self versus the Steelers, loses 27-21, his worst performance of the season, one of the worst performances from a QB this season. 31 of 50, 342 yards, of course. That's pretty good. A touchdown to 3 interceptions, which a lot of those interceptions were not good looking. And when you look at Daniel Jones's face,
not many good looking interceptions, but yeah.
that's true. But sometimes it's like, okay, whatever. It's 50-50 ball. You look at Daniel Jones' face and you're like, he's got that Giants look. He's like, he has no idea.
Look of concern.
And honestly, this is the first, second real team that they've played this year. The Rams being the other one, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, it starts with Jonathan Taylor. If you can keep him in a box, and that's something that the Steelers just did so well. And that's where having a coach like Mike Tomlin helps you out. When you have a tremendous coach that can game plan for game wreckers and shut them down, I think that's one thing that the Steelers defense, regardless of how good they are, is still capable of doing, is if there's a clear-cut reason that a team is winning, they're going to be able to game plan for it. They're going to shut it down. And they did that perfectly. And
he only had 14 carries, but he only had 45 yards.
Yeah, not an efficient game.
Not even close for him, yeah.
And, they couldn't get him anything out of the backfield either, in terms of passing him the ball, which usually is a point of emphasis for them as well. So, I'm almost want to tip my cap to the Steelers, but honestly, Daniel Jones, make him throw the ball.
Yeah.
And you'll win.
And then our last bit of field goal of the week, our last bit of not even close. The Falcons lose on a last-minute extra point. They look to tie the game with about a minute left. John Parker Romo misses the extra point. They lose 24-23. The Patriots were able to ice the game after that point. The Falcons moved to 3-5. In my opinion, I think the season's over. But
3-5 and the season's over?
And it's the same record as the Ravens, I guess.
I don't know if you guys are capable of stacking wins.
And you look at the rest of the season, it's not easy. Sure, you play the Saints twice, play the Panthers again, but you got to play the Bucks. You got to play the Colts. You have to play the Rams at some point. There's the Jets thrown in there, but it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. And the NFC's stacked. It's going to come down to a couple last minute games, I'm sure, but I think it's not looking good.
No, that is you're kind of spot on about that.
We kind of needed this. Well, I shouldn't say we. The Falcons kind of needed this win this week to really be in any contention.
Yeah, I mean, at least you got a great game from Drake London. He looks so good. I mean, especially
a lot of that,
in the red zone. I mean, someone where if you can continue to develop Penix and have a guy like Drake London among Bijan and Pitts, this team is bound for some success.
Yeah. A couple of takeaways I will say. If the season does end up in no playoffs, at least our head coach will be fired, which would be a positive for me. Obviously, don't want anybody to lose their job, but if you're not qualified, you're not qualified. Our offensive coordinator would probably get fired because he came with Raheem Morris, so he'd probably be gone, and he's pretty bad. And Parker Romo got cut this morning. Zane Gonzalez is the new Falcons kicker.
You did say that was going to happen, actually. You said that.
Well, I was in the bathroom for the missed extra point, and I came out, and you were like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. And I was like, well, it probably means he'll get cut.
That's exactly what you said. That was the conversation pretty much.
And he's not very good, so I'm okay with it. But let's get into our fantasy starts and sits for the week. I am 25 and 20, 1-4 last week. I had a bad start week, I won't lie. But I did say Caleb Williams, so it kind of makes up for it because he had 40 points. Okay. And I am 29 and 16. 29 and 16 on sits. Wow.
You're doing
5-0 last week
on sits. Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
And how about you, James? How you been doing?
We're not going to talk about it. Right. I was subpar in both.
No, it's not too bad.
I was 3-2 in my starts, but my sits just continue to. I really try to take good guys for my sits. Okay, I took Nico Collins. Fair. He got less than his projected. He still had 14.5 points. I took James Cook, again less than his projected, but both of those guys literally had so much volume.
You could have never predicted what happened to CJ Stroud too, but
whatever.
Anyway, let's start. Let's start with the starts and let's start with the QB. I'm gonna go with Jared Goff this week against Washington. They are the second worst team versus the QB, and Sam Darnold just put up 28 on them in the first half. So
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, I mean,
I like
their
that.
defense isn't very good. Marshawn Lattimore's gone, and they don't have an offense.
I'm gonna go with Bo Nix against the Raiders. I think the Raiders, what a semblance of an offense can they have at this point? They just traded away their wide receiver Brock Bowers. Yes, I know. Brock Bowers. That's it. To be completely honest, might elevate them. Stop throwing the ball to Jacoby. Just chuck it to Brock. He's down there somewhere. But this is a game I see Denver dominating, and I assume Bo Nix, scampers to the end zone a couple times.
The weak spot in the AFC West, that's pretty good otherwise. So, and then for wide receiver, I'm gonna roll with Nico Collins again. I'm gonna have him in the start category this time against Jacksonville. He just seemed to be in the game plan as soon as CJ Stroud got hurt. They had him taking screens. They had him just like one-on-one. Everything was going his way. Jags are the 6th worst against the pass, or I guess against wide receivers.
Yeah. He had 11 targets last week, so, he'll take it. I've got Wan'Dale Robinson at Chicago. Chicago just let 42 points get dropped on their head, and Wan'Dale's been just so involved. I mean, he's still not one of those guys that you look down and you're like, oh, he's projected 17 points, but I think those days could be coming. I'm just saying.
Is he really projected that much?
No, he's only projected like 13.9, but I'm thinking we get up there eventually after a couple good weeks, and it's a decent amount. So, I mean, he had 9 catches last week. There was not much downfield action, but he is a guy who's pretty good after the catch. It just takes one.
Yeah. And then I'm going to take a bit of a risk here and say Quinshon Judkins. He's coming off injury, but he's playing the New York Giants. He's coming off the bye as well, so I think that's going to help him. The Giants go with the 7th most. If he's hurt, my insurance plan here is Jerome Ford.
Okay. All right. Well, the backup, that's fine. I'm going to go with Jaylen Warren against the Los Angeles Chargers. He's coming off a couple just pretty tough weeks. But I feel like this is just going to be a game that's played really evenly. The Steelers are only ever really in close games, I feel like, where he'll just get a lot of volume, and that's what you need in fantasy. So Jaylen Warren, start him.
At tight end, which is always a tough one, give me Kyle Pitts against the Indianapolis Colts in Germany at 9:30 in the morning.
Oh, Germany.
Oh, man.
9:30.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Indy gives up the 3rd most. Pitts seemed to be more involved in the offense.
Yeah, I enjoy him. He's on my fantasy team.
Not 4th round or 4th overall pick involved, but
involved. That is true, actually. Yeah, man. That's so funny. Anyways, I'm going to take Dalton Kincaid against Miami. Need I say more?
Yeah, wide receiver 1. And then at my flex, I'm going to take a little bit of risk here and say Troy Franklin against Las Vegas. You kind of mentioned it. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, exactly.
Vegas gives up the 5th most points. Could just kind of be a sneaky waiver wire guy for you.
Yeah, I like that, actually. I'm going to say at flex for my last start here, Marvin Harrison Jr. When Kyler Murray plays, when Jacoby Brissett plays, though, he's up.
Is Jacoby playing next week?
He better. They were talking about it the entire broadcast with Dallas and Arizona last night. They said, I'm not sure if I care if Kyler Murray's healthy. Yeah. I'm starting Jacoby Brissett.
That's fair.
Whether they actually do that or not, I know teams have a lot of pride when they draft a quarterback. They don't want to ever make it seem like, oh, we're going to sit him for another guy who's not as good, but it's a must, in my opinion. He slings the rock a lot better.
And then let's get into our sits. I'm going to sit Sam Darnold, who had a really good week against Washington. He's playing Arizona. They give up the 6th least amount of points. It's a divisional game, so it's always going to be tough. And it's honestly a very underrated and tough defense. They allowed the Cowboys to only score 17 points, and you know how good that offense is.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty surprised. Hey, Calais Campbell, still balling.
Calais Campbell, 39. almost 40 years old. Oldest defender in the league. I'm
going to say sit Daniel Jones against the Falcons. I will say, though, he only plays bad when you start him in your fantasy on your fantasy team. And you did just get rid of him. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I had him for 1 week. It was last week. Need I say more? He's gone now.
Yeah, and
I'm a curse to him. Which
that does mean he's probably going to play really well because he's playing your Falcons too.
You curse my team or I curse Daniel Jones. My team is pretty important to me.
I still say sit him. They're 6th against giving up points to quarterbacks, and they got to be desperate to get Jonathan Taylor the ball, if anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if Daniel Jones is going to throw for over 300 yards against the Falcons. It's just not likely.
Yeah. And then wide receiver, I'm going to sit Chris Olave against Carolina. The QB situation, I'll be frank, it sucks. And the Panthers give up the third least amount of points. They just limited Green Bay to 13. So I'm not feeling good about Olave this week.
No.
He might even get traded. So I don't.
Yeah. Another guy who might get traded, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
He's playing Cleveland. They're not particularly good against wide receivers, but I wouldn't start a single Jet this week.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yeah. And well, Breece Hall against Cleveland. It's going to be one of those games where the Jets don't score or something. Like it's going to be one of those where Justin Fields puts up like 45 yards and then Breece Hall is going to get nothing. And they give up the least amount of points to the running back. He could even get traded. He's just inconsistent. Unless you have no other options, please put Breece Hall on the bench.
Yeah. I'm going to say another, honestly, really talented running back, Ashton Genty. Sit him against Denver. Bloodbath.
Yep.
Need I say more?
It could be one of, like, remember that week against the Chiefs? He had like 6 carries for 22 yards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It could be that.
George Kittle is my tight end to sit against the Rams. They give up the 9th least amount of points. It's a divisional game again. So always going to be tough. I already mentioned that. But Kittle's pretty inconsistent in my opinion. So
yeah. And, just in case any of you guys watched, don't play Zach Ertz. He does not have a quarterback throwing to him anymore.
That's a good point.
Sit Zach Ertz.
And then in my flex, I want to start with temper expectations against Saquon Barkley against the Green Bay Packers, the best rush defense in the league. But they're struggling a bit. But the Eagles are struggling a bit.
Okay.
An injured Saquon. It's risky. But, if you have a better option, like one of the guys we mentioned in the starts, if it's him or Quinshawn, throw Quinshawn in there, I think, this week.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's going to be really hard for people to sit him, but I understand, it
temper expectations.
Could be one of those games where if he's still dealing with an injury a little bit, maybe he only gets the ball 10 times or something. So I imagine that's kind of what you're looking for there. My flex, I'm going to say sit Zay Flowers. He's playing Minnesota. I feel like in some of these games where the Ravens are playing a particularly good defense, they do look to run the ball more, and they might hit Zay Flowers on some of those screens. Kind of like what Buffalo does. They do like those plays, but that doesn't set him up particularly well to have a lot of yards. A screen pass for -2 yards is 0.8 fantasy points.
Well, granted, you're in a PPR league too.
That is. I mean,
feel like we always talk about how, like, we always talk about it, but it is, we are PPR. I feel like most people are PPR at this point.
PPR or half PPR. If you're still, no PPR, I think you're weird.
That's weird. Yeah,
you're weird.
But let's get into our forecast for next week. Obviously, we can't tell you the weather, but we can make some predictions about the next week of football. I am 31-29. I suck. I am really bad. And James, you're 37-23.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I'll take it.
Start with this Thursday night football game. Raiders Broncos. Give me the Broncos.
What a classic Broncos.
Yeah. Berlin game at 9:30. Falcons Colts. I'm gonna take the Colts.
I'm gonna take the Colts too.
Again, if the Falcons win, I'll be. It's like a double disappointed. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
1 p.m. game. Pats at Buccaneers. I'm gonna go with the Bucs in this one.
I'm taking the Patriots.
All right, I think it will be the Patriots then.
I think they make things hairy and they win.
Yeah. They didn't play great against the Falcons. That's the only thing that I'll say. 1 p.m. Ravens at Vikings. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
This game's so close, but I'm going to go Ravens.
Vikings did have a big win last week. We didn't really talk about that, but I don't think that they're just cut out to do it yet. And the Ravens are really up on the come up right now.
And so desperate for wins. They just need them.
Yeah. And then 4 p.m. Rams at 49ers. I'm going to go with the LA Rams.
Again, another game that's going to be so close, but I feel like the 49ers have been one of the luckiest teams in the NFL so far this year. So Rams. Yeah,
I mean, just having Mac Jones is pretty lucky. I won't lie. Sunday night football, Steelers Chargers. This is a good one. I won't lie. It was close in my head, but I'm going to go with the Steelers. They're coming off a big win.
Yeah, I think if the Chargers still have a guy like Omarion Hampton, they could pull it out, but I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Yeah, and then Monday Night Football, Eagles at Packers, a rematch of that game in Brazil a couple years ago, and a rematch of the playoffs, I believe. That's the last time that these two teams met. I'm going to go with the Eagles regardless.
Just give me the Packers.
Okay.
Just because.
Yeah, I mean,
I got to disagree with you with a couple picks, and, I hope I just
That's
get
fair.
it right.
Yeah,
and
that's
your
fair.
record gets even worse.
yeah, odds are. Then let's get into our lock of the week, our final bit here. I'm 3-1 because I chose the Falcons over the Dolphins, and they suck. And
I
James is
almost
4-0,
did that,
so.
honestly.
This week I'm going Lions over Commanders. Commanders have no defense and they have no quarterback. Lions, they really need to bounce back after a divisional loss, and they are still a top team in the NFC. Probably the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Top two, top three.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
whatever.
that's good enough. Yeah.
My lock of the week, we've talked about it, alluded to it a couple times. Bloodbath. Broncos over Raiders.
Yeah.
Unless Brock Bowers goes for like 300 yards, just throw him in at quarterback, honestly, at this point.
Taysom Hill style.
Taysom Hill style.
Yeah.
Yep. And I will say, I'm refreshing Adam Schefter here for the final time before we end here. There's nothing new. I will say there's just one thing that he reposted that I thought was pretty interesting. Jets cap savings. In 2025 and 2026, they're only going to save like $1 million or so. In 2027, they're saving $24 million already. So big moves for the Jets. Get a lot of people off the payroll. Yeah. Let's begin the rebuild.
Makes me want to go play Madden. It really does.
And rebuild the Jets.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah. We can take that up after this.
Maybe we do this right after the show.
But that will do it for us. We got to go play Madden.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week. Go watch some football. Bye-bye.
Peace.